What's up, everybody? Rob here, back with another episode of Wasting Wildcards here on Malta 5. This week, I am playing Feather. To be more specific, I'm playing Boros Feather. I know there's Boros and Naya Feather running around lately, but after a lot of playing with the Naya version, I just found it to be significantly less consistent, and my win percentages were just significantly lower. This Boros deck seems insanely consistent, insanely powerful. It's got pretty good matchups against the entire field, with the exception of, there's a couple bad matchups in there. But it is such a fun deck. With the release of M20, we got some cool stuff like God's Willing predominantly, and Temple of Triumph, which I'm still working my way to craft all those. But we also got the great sideboard cards in Fry, and I guess that's it. But still, it's got some good stuff. So let's take Feather through some of the paces here. As you can see, I was recently playing Naya Feather. The Naya Feather deck basically gives you access to the 1 in a green enchantment that lets you scry every time a creature enters the battlefield, as well as draw a card anytime you target a creature you control with a spell. So you can imagine in a deck with Feather where you're recurring like pump spells or reckless rages or just a whole slew of things that target your creatures, you're drawing an insane amount of cards. I've literally lost in that version of the deck because I milled myself to death. Blech. So I had to mull. That first one only had one land, and it was not a good one-lander, but this is pretty good. We put one of the lands back. We got a 10th District Legionnaire, and a Danto Vanguard, and a Defiant Strike. So we can go Vanguard, pass, then Legionnaire into Defiant Strike, or what else? But this is definitely a keep. Probably, depending on the matchup, one of the best 6s you could have. Reckless Rage in like a creature heavy matchup would be ideal, but mono red potentially. So here we have the choice of Vanguard to attack for more damage on the next turn, or Arcanist, where we can potentially play 10th District Legionnaire, Defiant Strike, cast it again, pump it twice, a whole bunch of silly things. But if we are playing against mono red, I think Vanguard is probably the move, and clearly they have an instant, so being able to not die to a burn spell. Okay, it's Gruul with a Llanowar. Okay, this is a pretty okay start. So we're definitely doing this. We basically have protection from shock, as this will get a counter when I target it with Defiant Strike. We are risking getting blown up by shock here. Smart move by my opponent. Very patient. Don't want that land. So the power of this deck is really showcased when you start going off with cards like Dreadhorde Arcanist and Feather. Basically, that pump spell, Defiant Strike, that is now in the graveyard, will just come back when I attack with Dreadhorde Arcanist, and if I have a Feather out, it just infinitely comes back. So you can get stuff out of your graveyard. You can continuously attack and attack and attack. My opponent's in a pretty good spot right now. Rekindling Phoenix is a pretty big problem for our deck. It's a big blocker, and it's a flying blocker, and I need to use 2 removal spells to get it off the field. Okay. So luckily they're not going too over the top of us. This is a pretty great draw. So I want to play the Feather first because I want this Defiant Strike to keep coming back. So we're attacking with everything. We'll target the Dreadhorde Arcanist. That way if they block with the Growth Chamber Guardian or anything, we will be able to kill it. We'll be able to play our Sacred Foundry tapped here and still have mana up to cast the pump spell on the next turn, draw a card on my opponent's turn, and continue the cycle. This hurts, but they're going to activate Growth Chamber. Yep. So our opponent did pull ahead pretty early, but I think now that we have a feather online and we have a cantrip, it is possible for us to start catching up. So the best thing we could do here is to start drawing into some of our removal spells, some of our reckless rages. So 8, they would need double burn to kill us. So I think we just take this. I don't want to. It's a lot of damage. Collision Colossus would kill us. No Collision Colossus. Sweet. So they're about to go off on the growth chamber train. Gird for Battle is pretty good. Make our team real big. So they have 15 life. All right, so let's start here with 10th District Legionnaire. Let's make our things bigger. I'm going to target Feather in this, so we get the Scry from 10th District, as well as making Feather big enough to block the Phoenix. Definitely want another one. Target this again. We just want this to get as big as possible. Something like a double God's Willing, or it's in my graveyard, just that. Shock. Shock will let me get rid of one of their Growth Chamber Guardians or the elemental created by a dead Phoenix. So I think I want that. Don't have a ton of 4 health. So I can't attack with anybody, unfortunately. I guess I could kill the Growth Chamber Guardian right now. And then I could go in with at least one of my creatures. Still have 3 blockers. I'm dead to a whole slew of things. Collision Colossus, Lightning Strike. Any of that fun stuff. I could double shock here, but that's... So they have 1 blocker. This doesn't have trample, so if they block here, they go to 4, 5, 8, plus 2 from a shock is 9. So we can't win here, so I'm just going to attack with our biggest person. If we can survive next turn, that puts us in a pretty good spot to potentially sneak out a win. I mean, we have a whole bunch of stuff next turn, so... Again, we are dead to a big hasty creature. A shock. Oh, that might also do it. They're 1 mana short. So they can't pump the Thorn Lieutenant. If this is a land, we're dead. All right, let's see if our opponents are not dumb. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Yep, pump the Thorn Lieutenant and we're dead. All right, so kind of an unfortunate little turn of events there. Our opponent was able to get a little bigger than us, go a little wider. So here, let's see, to target white or blue, not relevant. Lava Coil is great. Aurelia is a good blocker. Gideon is kind of our only way to gain life, but I don't know if that's super relevant in this matchup. Prison Realm. I don't think we need that considering we have enough other stuff. So let's see. Shock is always good. God's Willing is good. I think Sheltering Light, not like a sweeper deck, so we don't need that as much. Gird for Battle lets us kind of compete on size with the creatures. Vanguard seems mediocre in this matchup. It can be blocked by like Llanowar Elves, so maybe we just want to do something like that. Maybe throw Gideon in. Yeah, 3-1 against a deck of 4/4s isn't what you're looking for. Even though it can be indestructible, the 4 life in a Gruul matchup is pretty brutal. So this is good. This is good. We got the Reckless Rages and Shocks, Dreadhorde Arcanist, and Feather. Against Gruul, this is kind of what you want. So we're opening ourselves up to a Lightning Strike here, but if not, we can start just straight removing. Not the most ideal because they're going to get a token out of it, but yeah. I will take a 1/1 over a fully fledged Thorn Lieutenant any day. Okay, going hasty. Pretty smart. Knowing that we're just going to blow it up next turn. Yeah. Let me think here. If I gird for battle, I can still only do it once. But yeah, we need to get the Spellbreaker out of here. Still just going to gird. So we definitely need lands. We want to get our Feather online pretty soon. All right, well, he was out of Lightning Strike range, but not Lava Coil range. All right, well, things aren't looking up. Definitely want to draw some lands here. Krenko, gonna kill that guy for sure. All right, well, just gonna start getting beat down by friggin' this thing as soon as they get their 6th land. At least we can kill this if it tries to adapt. So they're going to adapt no matter what. I guess we could save it. All right, so a Lava Coil is really going to bum us out here, but I mean, Legion Warboss is even more susceptible to just getting beat to hell. So Feather can't block here. If they don't get their last land, Thorn Lieutenant is still blockable. So we basically just need to start drawing lands in fast, or this is not going to end pretty. That's fine. We'll take 4. So I don't think there's any way we can win here. I think we're just straight dead. Might as well get in for 5, you know, show them, teach them a lesson. Yeah, we are completely dead. Thorn Lieutenant can get pumped, and then Growth Chambers are just... All right, so Gruul is tricky if they can go a little wider, a little faster. So yeah, let's run it back. All right, so the Gruul matchup is not the easiest. Maybe. We've only had one round. Let's see how we go. Haven't seen so much Gruul popping around. A lot of Flash, a lot of Ramp, a little bit of Esper, a lot of Scape Shift, a lot of Scape Shift. Luckily, when our deck goes off, we can usually outrace Scape Shift pretty easily. Other little dinky creatures don't block us very well. Well, that's not good. This isn't bad. Got a creature with some pump spells. We'll start drawing pretty quick. Definitely going to keep this 6. Let's get our Sheltering Light for now. Want to make sure we can hit our land drops. So is it our Jeskai or Teamer? Probably Teamer Elementals. A lot of Elementals running around lately. Yep, looks like elementals. So let's attack. Do you want a second creature? I think we really want a removal now. Yeah, that's what we want. Not good enough for this, but can kill a Risen Reef, that's for sure. All right. Yeah. All right. This is what we wanted. Oh, again, we just kind of want our more impactful pieces. We want our feathers. We want our Dreadhorde Arcanists. We want a lot of Reckless Rages. So here we can attack, hope they block, and then God's Willing to make it too big. All right. That's fine. Got our God's Willing to hold up for some protection in case they have a Lava Coil or some weird spicy main deck fries or something like that. Risen Reef. So definitely going to kill that next turn. That card is insane. The amount of value that thing can produce left unchecked. I was hoping they would attack with a Paradise Druid. That would be... So I'm going to pay 2 life here just to kind of spook them. I don't know why that would spook them, but, you know. I feel like we kind of have to start blocking at this point. Okay, so they got a big old blocker. Still not big enough to beat what we're doing here. So we're going to submit this first. All right, so as long as they don't gain a ton of life, which is possible because these decks do run Hydroid Crassus, we'll be able to God's Willing for the win next turn. So Risen Reef is fine. So I think they're out of range now of a Crassus even doing anything. Guess some weird main deck counter spells could thwart my plans. Okay, it doesn't look like they have any instants, so let's just get out of here. Protection from green. Get out of here. And that is, yeah. It's a pretty mopey elementals draw there for my opponent, but you can kind of see how it's just clean, you know? It's just nice. Feather's just, it's real good. And that one, we really only had 1 creature, but having a God's Willing in hand, it just feels good. So this gets rid of like a couple of the creatures, but not enough. I think we want to get Lava Coils in here. Don't think that's as important in this matchup. We want all the removal we can get because it's just a heavy creature deck. War Boss is, I mean, it's never a bad thing to go wide. Maybe go down 1. Vanguard can get chumped for days, so let's go down there. Let's just try this out. Don't think like Prison Realm is necessary. You don't want expensive removal. We just want to be able to kill all their cheap little stuff to keep them from getting to their big good stuff a lot faster. Crappy mana, but we're on the draw, so let's see where this takes us. It's a pretty good draw. So now I'm going to throw a Vanguard. Next turn we can go Legionnaire and strike. Okay. So I will happily attack into any of these things. Could have pumped there, but I think the more important thing is to keep up God's Willing. Just try to maintain the creature base here. All right, Nissa is an annoying card. As the only new Planeswalker really that has an ultimate, you can't really ignore it for the whole time, which is a bummer. All right, so pro red. 6. No. Don't need more creatures. I can still kill Nissa next turn. Jesus. Talk about a creature heavy draw. Yeah. All right, well. Kill Nissa. I'll Define Strike just to... Yeah, I'll take a shock. I think I want an Arcanist. I want to start playing my spells over again. So we lack the protection of a God's Willing here, but... that's annoying. Omnath is good. Sure is. Okay, so we have 2 shocks here. Kill the Paradise Druid. Attack with everything. Cast shock. See how they block. That's fine. Kill that. Kill one of their lands. And yeah, that was a pretty good couple turns there for us. So there you can see kind of the consistency of this deck when you really start cranking out the pump spells, you start cranking out the Define Strikes, and it really just starts working. I'm a firm believer that the Boros Feather deck is the superior Feather deck. Do I think this is the best build? No, probably not. I mean, I don't even have my 4 temples yet. This is almost a card for card copy of the top 8 Oliver Tomiko deck from an SCG a couple of weeks ago. The 3 slot here is kind of like a flex slot with Legion War Boss. I've seen people play Krenko. You could play main deck Gideons. There's even like the new Ajani. There's the old Ajani. There's a lot of stuff you can play in this deck. Your pump spells, you always want the Reckless Rage. You always want the God's Willing. You always want the Define Strikes, but Gird for Battle, Sheltering Light, stuff like that. I mean, you could probably play around with that, kind of see what else you can do. Healing Grace is a card that I've seen some people play in their sideboards as a way to just, against like mono red or Gruul, something super aggressive, you can just continuously start throwing these things out and gaining 6 life a turn. And it's pretty hard to come back from that. But yeah, this is Boros Feather. It is currently my go-to standard deck, and I think it is very well positioned. There's a lot of play with it. It's a lot of fun. So definitely recommend checking this out. Maybe I'll do a video on the Naya one and we can compare. But yeah, firm believer that this is the superior one. So thanks for watching. This has been Wasting Wildcards on Multi 5.